Hey guys, welcome back. It's Josh with the Financial Advisor Car Guy. So you might be looking over my shoulder wondering where the heck is Josh sitting today. I wanted to spend this afternoon sharing with you guys a little bit about my wife's new car. So if you remember, we sold off that 535xi a couple of months ago now. I did an episode about how dramatically underrated that car was and really how great a vehicle it truly was. But it is off to a new home. And I never really said why we sold it. So basically the idea was we bought a new car and needed to make space, really is what it was. We didn't need another extra car. So we did go ahead and sell it. And, we'd already bought this car. I'd been kind of quiet about it because we didn't want to make a big deal about it or anything like that. Plus, we really wanted to get to know the car. I didn't want to talk about it on the channel here without really kind of knowing the ins and outs. So we've had the car 4.5 months now. We've only got about 1,750 miles on it. So it's still a relatively brand new car. But what it is it's a 2021 Ford Mustang Mach-E. Now, before you stop the video, I get it. It's not a Mustang. It's not a Mustang, and I will agree with that. I will be the first person to tell you this car is not a Mustang. If you want to see a Mustang, look at this. Right? So why did Ford call this thing a Mustang? I don't really know. It does share some very subtle similarities. It's got Mustang looking taillights. It's got the new Mustang looking headlights to some capacity. It does share the same emblem. It's got the Ford Mustang logo all over this car. In fact, at night, the door sills light up. When you open the door, it shines a Mustang onto the ground. It's really cool looking. But when you get back to the root of it, this car is not a Mustang. I don't know what they were thinking, quite honestly. I mean, the marketing team, I think really failed. They could have called it the Mach-E and just left it alone. They didn't have to call it the Mustang. They could have called it, I don't know, the E-Scape. They have an Escape, right? So I don't know. It could have been a play on words. It's an SUV crossover style car. We really like it, but most of the haters don't love the fact that they call it a Mustang. So I am in the camp of I'm all for innovation. I think the thing is sweet. I really do like it. It's fast. It's way faster than my Mustang. It's way faster than anything really I've driven. Being an electric car, it's a fully plug-in electric. There's zero internal combustion engine. There's nothing. It is solely battery. And so it's a plug-in vehicle. We plug it in every night. We only have 110 power service in our garage, which will get remedied. We need 220. But for now with the 110, we can charge it. It tops it off every night. It's not a big deal. It's plenty for us. But eventually we want 220 so we can do the rapid charger. We haven't really taken it on any serious road trips. We've driven it, maybe 80 miles in a day, 100 miles in a day. If we drive around Central Oregon, whatever it is, we're talking 60 to 100 miles is probably about as far as we've driven it. And we've only done that a couple of times. It's really only used for my wife's commute and the occasional running to the grocery store or running out to dinner or whatever it is. And so the car doesn't get a lot of miles. Again, 1,700 and change, 1,750, something like that. But it's been fun. It's been fast. It's been exceptional, especially with the timing. We bought this car right before the gas prices shot up. So we bought this car. It was my wife's birthday at the end of January, and this car was her birthday gift. She picked it out. It's the color she wanted. It's the style, the model, down to extended range, all-wheel drive, everything. It checked every single box for what she wanted. And it was kind of a fluke thing, really. If you guys know much about the Mach-E, the ordering on these things, there's 3 trim levels, right? There's Select, which is their basic model. There's Premium, and then there's the GT. And, the GT is going to have the performance package. It's I don't know all the specs off the top of my head, but it's got more power, ideally. It's got more power. You have to buy it with the extended range batteries because the regular standard battery would not go very far with all that extra power and all that extra performance. It has mag ride suspension. It does not have the glass roof like you see above me. It's got a little bit different front bumper. It's got different wheels, different tires. It's got a few differences, but for the most part, it's essentially, the same. The interior's darn near identical. It does have a little bit different seats, but I really like the seats that are in this one. So my wife and I, when we priced these things out, we built one online. We were going to order it, but it was something like 38 weeks out or something. It was more than 6 months away. And so we started calling around to different dealers and nobody had them in stock. When they would get them in stock, it was because they were pre-orders that were being fulfilled. Occasionally one would come up that maybe somebody pre-ordered and opted out or changed their mind or found something else in the meantime and just decided not to buy it. If that happened, it would sit on the lot for minutes generally, and then it would be sold. It was shocking. We called so many different Ford dealers in the whole state, really, the whole state of Oregon, and every one of us told the same story. It was, oh, the one you're calling on, it's being signed for right now. It's being sold as we speak. Or it's out on a test drive, but this guy's going to buy it. Or shoot, we forgot to update the website. It's already sold. So we kept getting that over and over and over and over, and it was getting so frustrating. We called probably 7 or 8 different dealers over a 3 or 4 week period. We'd been looking for a couple of months. And so it was just getting defeating. And so anyway, we went out of town for the night for my wife's birthday, and we stayed at a resort. And while we were eating dinner, my wife's phone beeped at her, and she had notifications on from Ford. And it turned out that this exact Mach-E was delivered to a Ford dealer 15 minutes away from us. So it was already after hours. The dealership was already closed. So the next morning we called, and they said, yeah, we have it here. It's likely to probably sell today, but if it's still available when you guys get into town to come see it, we'll gladly let you drive it. We'll gladly, talk to you about it, and great. So my wife kind of non-committally says, well, we're going to come by it. We'll be there in a couple of hours. So we did. We drove. We actually came home first and got our kids and whatever else. And then we went off and went to the dealer. And lo and behold, it was still sitting there front and center at the lot, right outside the showroom. And we pull in, nonchalantly walk over to it and look at it. And, my wife's drooling because she loves it. And, I try to explain to her, we got to keep it cool, right? Like they want a dealer markup on these things. Unfortunately, the demand is humongous. These things are selling way over MSRP online right now, and more so today than they were when we bought it, because they're no longer producing the 2022s. They're not taking new orders for fresh ones. The backlog is full and done. They are not going to even fulfill just about every order that has already been placed. So there's no more Ford GT or Mach-E coming out. First, what they had done was done away with this model. This is the premium model. So this is the middle of the road. It's not the base, it's not the GT, but the middle of the road. So this car is done. You cannot find another 2021 or 2022 car Mach-E. They're done. Well, as of just a couple weeks ago now, maybe a month ago, they're no longer making base or GTs either. They are all pre-ordered, all pre-sold, all the things. So the demand on these cars is exceptionally high with gas prices the way they are. We could probably sell this thing for $8,000 or $10,000 more than what we paid for it, which is awesome. Again, that's kind of the name of the game. If you can get into something and have equity, then you're going to do just fine. But anyway, so we go and test drive it, and it's great. It's everything we want. It's what we expect. There were a few bells and whistles we didn't know about that we learned about, and I'm still just kind of playing around with the vehicle. We're still learning new things every day, it seems like, but, all in all, we're extremely happy with it. I'm going to do a quick walk around and then, kind of show you the ins and outs. And there we have it. So I think that it's a really sharp looking ride. I like how muscular it appears. It does have these kind of flared fenders. It's got the solid glass roof. There's those taillights that are somewhat Mustang-esque. First mod, yeah. Got to get the handle on there, so that's cool. Everything you see is factory, with the exception of the front window tint. We did go ahead and get these tinted here, both passenger and driver side and whatnot. But other than that, everything is factory. It is ceramic coated, and we did do the PPF on the front clip and on the mirrors and everything that's that piano black. So even though the car looks a bit dirty right now, all this down here, this piano black trim, the flares, the roof up here, anything that's black, right? So all this trim around the windows, the doors, everything here, all that has been ceramic coated and paint protected with that clear bra film stuff, which is fantastic. So if I were to wash the car right now, you can see how dirty it is if I get real close. You know, basically the water's going to beat up. The soap will still clean it, but it will beat up, and then I can use just a like a leaf blower, and it'll blow all the beads right off. I don't even have to dry the car. It's fantastic. Let's take it inside here, and we can take a look. So the button is cool. This is the door handle. Pretty neat. So it does have, I like the interior. I think the sport seats are pretty cool. I like the contrast with the stitching on the black leather. And then it's got the infotainment center. It's got the screen up here for the gauges. And then of course, the iPad looking screen here, which is monstrous. And then of course it's got the normal Ford stuff, right? I do like that it has the phone charger built in down here. It's got some other storage trays and things. But one of the things that people often forget about is the fact that electric cars don't have a transmission tunnel. So underneath all this center console stuff is kind of dead space. I mean, there's a storage compartment down underneath, which is pretty awesome. One cool feature I thought was beautiful in this car is the carbon fiber. Now this is an actual like fabric-y twill type of finish. It's not like a hard, I don't know what you'd call it, but like my Audi R8, you know, this is a nice finish, as opposed to, you know, the harder epoxied looking, not epoxy, that's not the right word, but you know, it's got a hard finish to it. This is kind of a fabric-y type of, I don't even know how to explain it, but carbon fiber, pretty awesome. It's got a Bang & Olufsen sound system, which is fantastic. It's really got every bell and whistle you could want. And then of course, you know, I mean, it's got a traditional standard back seat, whatever. Power lift gate, you just put your toes underneath the back bumper and the gate lifts. You know, and then of course everything up here, hey, woo. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's pretty standard. We left actually the plastic. You can see this little tag right here. We left the plastic on the screen there. There's still plastic on the glove box door, and you can see it's got a couple scuffs in it. But just because we have kids and stuff, and they ruin everything. So just kidding, but kind of not. So to keep things nice and new and fresh, we kept some of those plastic protectors on there. Again, glass roof is amazing. If we open the back door, you know, it's plenty roomy. In fact, my kids have said how much more roomy this thing is than the 5 Series, which, you know, is fine. But yeah, big glass roof, not available on the GT. Pretty cool. All in all, we're really, really pleased. So to finish my story about the dealership and everything, you know, I told my wife we really need to play it cool, because they're not going to have any problem selling this thing. And if we don't buy it, the next person who looks at it will. So, I mean, we don't need to get into how much we love it or how much you have to have it or any of those things. Part of the reason that I suggested that was because they were trying to charge a $5,000 dealer markup. And obviously that's to help cover demand and everything. If they can get an extra $5,000 on a new car, they're going to do it. Ford really was anti-dealer markups. They spent a lot of money and effort trying to get dealers to sell at MSRP. Appropriate markups, you know, regionally and whatever else, that's a totally different thing. But people are just getting taken advantage of because the car shortage, right? I mean, chip shortage created such a backlog for new cars. Used cars are selling at a premium. It got to the point where used cars were as much or more than new cars, and that just doesn't make sense. So a lot of these dealers were charging markups to, you know, kind of justify the price of a new car, so to speak. Because if I'm going to go buy a new Ford Raptor, you know, and it's $80,000, what's to keep a 2020 or a 2021 from being almost the same price but used? I mean, it just ruins the market if a used car is the same as a new car. They're never going to sell used ones, or they'll never sell new, you know. So the long and short of it is these dealer markups were common practice. I'll put it that way. And so anyway, $5,000 markup on this car. Now, we fought them on that a little bit. Again, they weren't going to have a problem selling it. If we did not buy it, the next guy through the door would have. So basically we said, listen, we will buy it. We will drive it home right now. Is there anything you can do? Can you work with us a little bit? And so what they ended up doing was kicking off most of that dealer markup, but they told us that it was more, you know, they're covering the license and dock fees and some other costs and closing costs and things like that. They basically just said, you know, we'll take it out of that dealer markup. So, yeah, I mean, it ended up being more of a wash for us than anything. So we did get it mostly at MSRP. There was a little markup, a little bit of a premium, but not enough to talk us out of it. We still ended up buying it and took it home. They didn't even ask about a trade-in or anything. We were not prepared to trade in that BMW. We were going to keep it and private party it anyway, but they didn't even ask. So it was kind of interesting that that was not even on their radar, especially with used cars being the way they are right now. So I didn't have any problem selling it personally and made a little more money than I would have on trade anyway. So it was completely fine. That's about all I got for you. We'll do more videos on that car. I'll drive it. I want to give you guys kind of, I mean, I'll put the camera on the speedo and you can see how fast it accelerates, how fast it decelerates, the awesome sound that it makes. It sounds like a hairdryer. It's crazy. It's got a backup beep and a backup camera and all these safety features that, you know, every new car is going to have anyway, but it's just a little different being that it's fully electric, unlike this monster behind me. So, you know, we've got 3 Fords in the garage right now. We've got my truck, the old Mustang, the new Mustang. But again, please don't get on me about it. I don't consider this new car a Mustang. The Mach-E is its own animal. It should never have been called a Mustang in the first place. I have my issues with it, but it didn't keep me from buying one. We bought it for what it was, not because of what it is. Does that make sense? I'm pretty happy with it. My wife loves it, and we've saved a ton of money on fuel. Just to kind of put it into perspective, her BMW, we were getting about 300 miles. I'm trying to think this out loud now. 300 miles per tank, and it was a 20-gallon tank. So for 300 miles, and we ran premium in that car. So I'm going to say that even before the major gas hike, we're going to round up and say $5 a gallon for premium. Right now, regular's higher than $5 a gallon. So, but let's say about $5 a gallon times 20 gallons is $100 a tank, and that's to go 300 miles. Now, we've gone 1,750 or almost 1,800 miles. So let's call it 6 tanks of gas. Does that make sense? 6 tanks of gas times 300 miles would be 1,800. So we're close. We have yet to see our power bill go up. We've had this car again 4 months, and our power bill has stayed the same as it was last year. Maybe it was a little colder last year. I'm not suggesting that it doesn't cost anything to charge this car, but we haven't really felt the impact of it. So we have saved $600 to $700 in fuel costs, and haven't seen the cost of our power at home go up at all. And we do have this car charging every night. So pretty cool from that standpoint. But feel free to ask questions, comment down below, like, subscribe, share this stuff as always. But most importantly, please remember, may every investment you make be a good one. Till next time.